Hi, and thank you for joining me for another video. And friends, this week's Parsha is Parashat Devarim. And the Parsha, and actually the book of Devarim, begins by the Almighty taking the Israelites out of their comfort zone. The Parsha begins by Hashem saying to the Israelites that it's time to go, that they've stayed here on the mountain, on Mount Sinai, too long, and it's time to go out and take. In other words, go out and fight for what I promised to give you and your fathers. And friends, this message is as applicable today as it ever was back then. On how many today think that one should only seek out the heavenly and completely disregard their worldly commitments. But in the contrary, this parsha is here teaching us that comfort is not always constructive, that glory cannot exist without a fight, that even being with God without first an initial struggle in the name of goodness could actually be counterproductive. Now, many would say and do say in this world today that if God really loved us, he would have left us on the mountain with him safe and trouble-free and burden-free and not having to fight anymore. And friends, this is heard today from both religious and secular alike, which is why people choose to live in places like a yeshiva, or if you actually think about it, was the main reason that the Jewish state of Israel was established in the first place, to keep us safe from the rest of the world. But this, my friends, are not the characteristics of a good God, who is also responsible for the well-being of all his creatures, which is why the way he shows his love to us, and not only to us, but to the rest of the world, is by being like a mother bird and kicking us out of the nest and having us emulate him to the rest of the world. And this, my friends, is something we could easily see in our world today, the notion of asceticism, of being too heavenly good that we're no earthly good, teaching us that, seriously, how could you ever appreciate this unless you first go through that? Which, at least in my opinion, gives us a little perspective on why we suffer in life in the first place, on why living a perfect, trouble-free existence may even be ultimately detrimental to our souls. Which is the only way we could really understand that passage in Tehillim that states that those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. And really, the only thing is that in life, you have those who suffer and learn, and those who suffer and don't, and in turn make others suffer. And those that view all suffering as punishment, and those who view suffering as an opportunity to grow and refine their character and still persist in happiness with an enthusiasm that surpasses all understanding. Which is why, friends, that the modern Jewish notion that we just want to be left alone could not suffice for a people who have a message and a mission from the Creator himself, who himself is also accountable to all things. Why? Because he created all things. Left alone? Left alone for what? And do you really think Judaism could ever make sense without some duty to the world? Which is why the notion of Mashiach now never made much sense to me. Mashiach now, and then what? What have we learned as a people, and how would we have grown as a species if Mashiach just came today? But Mashiach and Geula as a goal after all the hard work is done, and as a frosting on the cake, that's it, my brother. And friends,